Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and I am far from alone. We've got the excellent Mr. Xeon.
Whoa, hey, it's me, everybody. Xeon, as you'd expect.
Sorry, did I say Xeon? I meant Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, boy, am I excited to be here. I don't know where this voice is going now.
But not only, but also, we've got the stupendous Mr. Felix.
Sorry, I'm not very fast, unlike Sonic over here.
Gosh! Oh, I'm so glad that was your pun. I'm so glad.
I just thought you were just waiting.
You're too slow.
I literally am.
I'm going to get the topic out eventually. We're here to talk about Sonic Frontiers because it's been a bit of a interesting reveal process, I think. I mean, obviously, the game was announced a while ago, but we've had over the past sort of 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, a bit of an interesting sort of reveal process of what the game is going to be like. It started off with IGN getting their foot in the door and having first dibs on footage, and it was revealed to the world, and everyone looked at it and went, this is a little underwhelming. I mean, it got mixed opinions overall, but I think a lot of people were a bit like, really? You know, it was quite slow. It looked a little bit sort of, things seemed out of place. It seemed, I think it's safe to say it seemed a little directionless.
Yeah, after all this time, it really didn't feel like the exact product, so to speak, that I think we all were kind of hoping to see. Because, I mean, a lot of leaks and I guess rumors and stuff came out about this game a while back, right? And a lot of those things kind of match up with what we've seen. And I think, like, for me, I can say that I expected the game to be smoother and more interesting, I guess, after all this time. Because I think some of those rumors came out a year or two ago, and a lot of it still matches up. And that is, I don't know, it's kind of surprising, I suppose.
Yeah, it was also just a weird, really weird way of, like, showing this game off. Like, it was IGN who got to, like, play this game, and it looked like a guy who didn't really know exactly what he was doing. He was just mostly walking around, where comparing to later footage that we've like seen where you're like running around, it was just such a weird reveal compared to like how good this game could potentially end up being.
Yeah.
To clarify, we don't know if that was actually IGN or a representative of IGN playing the game, or if they were provided this footage. No, it's okay. I just wanted to make it clear for the lovely...
I'm glad you brought that up too, actually, because I think I could be completely wrong, and so I apologize if I'm off base here. But I think I heard that, you know, like Alex said, IGN did play the game, but I think the gameplay that they showed off was also, even the early days stuff, was provided to them by Sega. And if that was the case, that's very interesting of Sega to, you know, even not show off how smooth the game really can be. Because like Felix said too, yeah, we've seen more B-roll that Sega has provided to other outlets now after Summer Game Fest, and it really is just a night and day difference being able to see kind of what you can do in the game.
Or day and night if you look at the time of day in the footage.
Oh no, is it really?
Although to be fair, it's more sort of dusk or potentially dawn. You know, either way.
True.
I saw an opportunity for a pun, and I, you know.
You took it.
Dove right in there.
I'm glad you took it. Didn't even occur to me, and then after now it's nighttime. I've been sitting here so long.
It's just weird that the first thing they showed off was essentially an early build of the game, like frame rate stutters and all that. Like, why wouldn't they just release what we saw later, like smooth, better looking visuals? It's just we're just confused. That's it.
I mean, it's not unusual. I mean, obviously what we saw later as well was still an early build of the game, I imagine, but if the distance between the initial reveal from IGN and the subsequent footage that is, let's just say right now, so there's no confusion, miles better. My God, it's so much better. If the distance, you know, sort of the time difference was months, you know, sort of maybe 6 months, even a year or something like that, you know, or even just a few months, it's sort of, okay, well, clearly they've been working on it. It's been a couple of weeks. I imagine these, you know, sort of either the footage that IGN had initially was really old, or just for some reason running on, you know, sort of some older build rather than the later. It just strikes me as really odd that there is this much discrepancy when the time difference is, what, 2 weeks? And they haven't, that's not 2 weeks worth of difference we're seeing there.
No.
Like, you know, sort of the shadows. Admittedly, they've chosen a time of day where the shadows aren't as prominent. Like, there are some really, really chunky shadows that make Breath of the Wild look like a next-gen game. But let's talk about the new footage, because the old footage, we could rag on it, and we were originally planning to talk about that, and then this new footage came out, and I'm pleased. Because
so thankful it came out, really.
Because the old footage did look like absolute poo. Whereas this new footage just seems, and I don't wish to be too disrespectful to whoever was playing the original footage, in the original footage we saw, the new stuff seems competent in comparison. Like, it's a lot faster, it's a lot slicker.
Yeah.
We just get to see a lot more of what the game is actually going to be like.
And I think you're right too. With, you know, it's not, you're not trying to be disrespectful by saying the fact that the original gameplay just doesn't do the game justice, right? And we can see from, at least from the new gameplay we've been shown, it looks like there's something fun there potentially, but we still don't know since we haven't played it ourselves. But we can see there's a game there at least now, where before it didn't feel like that.
Before it kind of looked like those like Mario and Sonic in Unreal Engine. It just looked so out of place.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah.
That feels really bad to say, like, out loud, but you're not wrong. And it's just, it is what it is.
It feels like a proof of concept or a tech demo in the early footage, and
yeah, tech demo. That I couldn't put it better.
But it feels so much more realized in the later footage. I just don't understand what happened in these 2 weeks, or what happened. Maybe IGN had secured exclusivity and they got this footage, but I mean, I don't know. We could speculate until the cows come home.
Also, like, there was a demo available at Summer Game Fest and stuff of, like, people taking pictures. You saw a very, very pixelated screen of the game menu, for example, the UI, and you saw people talking about that. It was just, we got so little information at a time from that event and stuff, and it's just nice to see that it looks better now.
Yeah, because Sega has been really kind of secretive and careful with how this game has been viewed, like how the public has been able to see this game, and it doesn't really make sense why they're doing things that way, when in reality it feels like we have so many questions. It would just be nice to have some answers, and I think that would make a lot of us feel a lot better about the game if we just knew more. But Sega just doesn't want us to know stuff, and it doesn't even have to be the story. Like, I think they can keep most of that under wraps just fine, but just let us understand the game a bit better.
And they've even come out to say, this isn't an exact quote or anything, but they've come out and said that it won't be delayed and that users just don't understand the gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
but they haven't told us.
Exactly.
Come on.
It's like, whose fault is that? You're the makers. You've got a marketing team. It's your job to make sure.
Sorry to say, but the marketing is really some of the worst I've seen for a game.
It's not great, is it? I've definitely seen worse, but for such a high-profile game,
exactly, that's what I mean. Of course, like, if you have smaller games, of course, the marketing is like, you don't have the budget. But come on, it's a Sonic game. It's like,
it's the first new Sonic game, and you know, that's something else I really can't stress enough. I'm so pleased they're doing something different.
Yes.
Rather than just continuing with the boost formula. You know, the boost formula's fine. I'm completely burnt out on it. Although I do want to go back to Generations. I have not played that in ages, on a weird side note.
And now that you have Series X too, which I mean, that's completely derailing the conversation, but it doesn't have like FPS boost or something like that on Series X?
I believe it has something. I also bought a copy of Sonic 06 before realizing it wasn't supported. But there are murmurs that it will be, because I've never actually properly played Sonic 06, and I'd like to, because I mean, I've played bits and it was rubbish. But I do want to...
It's tough to say. I've never heard someone say I'd like to play Sonic 06, but I'm happy to hear it
It'll be
first.
educational, I think. But I do want to move on to a different sort of topic, as it were. I mean, same topic, obviously, but a different point. The director of the game had an interview with IGN as well. The director being, apologies for the pronunciation of this, Morio Kishimoto, or something to that degree. I'm very sorry for the pronunciation of that. Talking about the fact that it is an open zone structure. And this, I think they're trying to sort of say that it's not an open world game, it's an open zone game, and it's a bit indistinct. It seems to be sort of chopping back and forth. Possibly, indeed, due to translation. A lot of stuff gets lost in translation, and that's just, unfortunately, just something that happens. Kishimoto states that basically the world is a playable world map that includes stage-like elements, and that's something that hasn't really been done before, and so they came up with a new name for it, which was Open Zone rather than Open World. And
that's cute, because like Sonic and Zones. But...
Well, yeah, but I don't want to be too sort of naysay about it, and they say that it's never really been done before, but I sort of feel it has, and I don't know whether you guys can think of any instances, or maybe I should just do it. Don't know whether this is going to work over Discord, but let me just do this.
Oh boy. What is this?
That sounds so bad.
Is this...
Oh, does it sound terrible?
Is this Mario Odyssey Sonic music?
No, okay. I didn't know if that would work over Discord or not. It'll work on the recording fine, but yeah, Bowser's Fury.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they've described. It's one big open world with stage-like elements.
Yeah.
Sure. I see what you mean.
And
I guess the way I perceived the open zone thing was just that there were going to be multiple worlds, kind of, and you would go to those different. Yeah, you would teleport to them,
like different islands.
Yeah, they've said different islands. It's so confusing though. It's difficult to pin this sort of thing down, which again,
I think it was on the website that there would also be a desert island.
Okay.
Yeah,
that was a mistake on that part, but that, and also Cian talked before about a leak that was a year ago, and that also mentioned 4 different islands. So I think that's maybe what they're pointing at. That's we have a grass island, we have I don't know what the
island, a snow island, and an evil island that Robotnik's made. I mean, that's the most boring thing. But unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Or maybe it's this new threat. They do say that it's a new threat, but I have an inkling Robotnik may be involved. Sorry, Eggman may be involved somewhere.
And it could be the fact, too, that maybe what they were trying to say was it hasn't been done for Sonic before. But
again, it could easily be lost in translation. I just thought it was amusing, and I thought I could do a little musical ditty over Discord, and it didn't work.
Eggman is going to be like Bowser Jr. in Bowser's Fury. He's just going to float around like a sidekick, and
he's gonna be.
I've never thought about the fact that Bowser Jr. and Eggman are similar in the fact that they float around in flying little mini ships. I've never drawn that comparison until now. That's good.
He's gonna betray Sonic at one point and go, I think I'm going to give myself a promotion. So I think what this basically boils down to is not fantastic communication on Sega and/or Sonic Team's part, because the initial footage, it was rough. I think most people are in agreement with that. But I've got to say, the new footage, I'm actually excited for this game. I actually think there's potential here, and that this could genuinely be kind of like a Sonic Generations moment, where it's a bit of a sort of a renaissance for Sonic. I'd forgotten his name for a moment.
What about you, Cian? What do you think of the initial? Are you excited for the game?
I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible with this game, because it's the closest thing we've gotten to a Sonic Adventure title in years. And I grew up with both of those games. I know Alex did as well. And so we have, fairly large soft spots in our hearts for those games. And I think they are still fun to go back to. It's also just fun to... A lot of people think it's fun to dog on them these days as well.
Just don't play Knuckles' levels.
I still love them. I really do. I thought it was... But I love hide and seek. Hide and seek is one of my favorite, childhood games. And I think being able to have that kind of, in video game capacity was very rewarding for me.
The only good thing about Knuckles' level is Pumpkin Hill, and not even the level itself, but just like the music.
But I enjoy the direction. I like the direction that they're taking with this new game, but there are some things that feel just out of place. Like the enemies, even the world that Sonic's in still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like I think we saw that concept that somebody made the other day where they took that image of Sonic like standing out on the ledge, and they kind of spruced it up with like Green Hill Zone style elements instead, and it just had so much more life and color in it, and I kind of am confused as to why Sega didn't take Sonic in that route instead. I do think it could have been more difficult, but I don't know. I'm almost more skeptical than optimistic at this point, I think. But I think what we just really need, and I don't think I've ever wanted this for a video game, except for this. You know, most of the time I want to know as little as possible. But I think we're at the point now where a lot of us are just so confused and we have so many questions that I want Sega to do their own full like 30-minute presentation. Like do a Nintendo Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on us and do a Sonic Central again and do 45 minutes about Sonic Frontiers. And they don't have to talk about the story, but maybe just talk about like the elements of the game that they're most proud of and why we should be excited about the game. Because I think it's no offense to IGN and Game Informer and Easy Allies or the people that I've watched and stuff, but I think Sega, kind of like you said earlier, Felix, is that Sega's really just dropping the ball on the communication with everybody, because there's just so much that we don't know, and we've seen a decent amount of the game now, I suppose, at this point, or at least we've been hearing about it for so long that it feels like we should know more. Because this game got announced. Oh, was it a year ago now at this point, Alex, do you think? Or was it 8 months or something?
I think, yeah, roughly a year ago, yeah.
I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Besides, I also want to know if Chow are in the game.
Oh, hell yeah.
There was like...
They're in the Roblox game, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right. So they have to be in this game. But just give me a full presentation on that. Alex and I need to know if they're going to bring back the Chaos Chow.
Oh,
so we can have a competition
Chow.
of who gets one first. Yeah.
I'll beat you because I was the king of Chaos Chow back in the day.
I know.
I had like four of them. I think I had more, in fact.
We were doing it so wrong as kids. I didn't know you had to get like one of each animal. That was like, I don't know. My mom, we've talked about this before, how we had the strategy guide growing up, but just we didn't do it. We didn't do it right.
I went on Chow Island, which was my resource that I used in the local library that my mum works in.
Was that a website?
Yeah, or it was like a GeoCities thing, I think, or something like that.
Oh my
Felix
gosh,
is here like, what's a GeoCities?
What a time capsule. I do remember I went to the library too for strategy guides on game FAQs for Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town, and Game Boy Advance. So I'm really happy to hear that you were also hitting up libraries for video game help.
We had an internet connection at home, but it cost money. The library was free.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
What about you guys though? Where do you have any? I guess. Are we at the final thoughts section, I suppose?
Well, I just want to say, I wanted to say it earlier, but the moment passed that the idea of having another Sonic Central, because the last one was so great. I'm feeling optimistic for this game, which may well be misguided, but I've been so burnt with Sonic so many times, and now they're finally starting to try something new. I'm just sort of... I think it's just the child in me is going, go on, just be happy. Be happy about Sonic for a change when it's not Mania. Yeah. And I'm listening to that child for some reason. And yeah, it could be a mistake.
Be happy, Alex.
That's exactly what my child sounds like.
That's
a high-pitched Danish man. What about you, Felix?
I must say, I'm not sold on the concept yet. I must say it looked better, but... I don't know. For me, it just doesn't look very fun. I don't know. It looks a bit empty. It looks like you're just running around doing a lot of the same things. I'm afraid it's going to be very repetitive. But it's a thing that I can't really judge without having it in my hands. It can't be that the gameplay loop is very fun.
Ha! Gameplay loop!
Nice. And I agree with Sion. I hope for the best, but I'm skeptic. I have a lot of questions, and I would love to know more about this game.
But Felix, they've been so clear in their communication.
No, they haven't, Alex.
Well, it's tough too, especially when you know, like I know Felix is a big fan of Super Mario Odyssey, so like when you compare something like that to Sonic Frontiers, I could see why it would be hard to be excited about it.
Imagine if they revealed Super Mario Odyssey like this. Like, just showed Mario running around in the desert, not really doing anything.
Slowly moving around the desert as well, I might point out.
Why not just show a proper trailer? Like, show a bit about the story and stuff. Like, I just don't get it.
I think the last thing that I want to mention is I think in like 3 different articles, like, you know, different features about the game, we keep
know
hearing
what
about the
articles
Chaos
are, Zion.
Emeralds. I'm just saying words at this point. We keep hearing about the Chaos Emeralds, and we have yet to actually see one or understand how they fall into the game. You know, how they fit into the gameplay loop. And I think that's just like another example of kind of what the public wants to see. You know, like we keep hearing about things, but we don't actually know what it looks like in the game. And I do hope a public demo happens at some point too.
That'd be good.
From the reviews, or from the, not the reviews, but the previews we've been reading too, a lot of people say that it's one of those things you have to play to understand, and if they're not going to let us play it, then how are we supposed to get it? And also, how is it going to look on Switch?
I think that's a topic for another time.
Sounds like a good one, though. Let's do that later.
Oh, baby!
A triple.
Well, there you have it. That's our fever dream, sprinkled with Sonic Frontiers chat. Let us know what you think of Sonic Frontiers in the comments down below. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you go, whoa, or something at that subscribe button. I'm too hot. I can't think of anything else. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.